I'm here today with Sam Schwartz, who is perhaps the most famous traffic engineer in the world. He's former head of the Department of Traffic in New York City and used to be first deputy commissioner of the Department of Transportation under Ed Koch, and now runs his own consulting firm, which is preeminent in the field of traffic engineering. And I'm very lucky to have him here with me today to talk about New York and transportation. So Central Park is still an issue, and there are still people who are fighting to keep it open and fighting to close it to traffic.
Most of the park now is closed most of the time. It's really amazing what's happened over the years. You have to have patience. You know, I started working on Central Park in the 70s. In 1978 or 1979, there were 3 car lanes that went around Central Park with a fellow named David Gurn, who was really a pioneer in public spaces. He took a bike ride with me in Prospect Park, which is very much like Central Park, and I told him we could take a lane away from cars and use it for bikes and runners and whatever. And so we did that in Prospect Park, and then we followed suit in Central Park. People who are fighting the battles now don't see how much we've gained, but nonetheless, they're continuing the struggle and the fight that parks shouldn't be used for car traffic, and I support them.
I guess there's this concern, if you're going to close the park to traffic, that all these people who are driving through the park would have to go somewhere, and it will be cause congestion elsewhere.
In the very beginning, whenever you close a road, there's plenty of congestion that's a result of that. So every time that Central Park is closed for various races, and we see a big increase in traffic volume on Fifth Avenue and a big increase on Central Park West. But what happens over time, if it's made permanent, people begin to adjust in several different ways. They choose different routes, they drive at different times, or they choose different modes. And we have a terrific example of that. In 1973, again, as a junior traffic engineer, one of my first assignments was racing out to the West Side Highway that collapsed at Gansevoort Street. The highway actually fell to the ground. This was an elevated highway over what is a boulevard today. I put traffic counters all across all of the avenues, and in the very beginning was able to trace the diversion. A lot of it went to the FDR Drive, many of it went to West Side Avenues. But then over time, we began to see a phenomena that the volume of traffic across the screen line at 60th Street did not grow that much. So we didn't see any increase in traffic, and the other avenues began to absorb it, and it was hard to really trace what happened to the traffic.
Big highway disappears from Manhattan, and the traffic impact on the other streets barely measurable.
Yes, a highway carrying 80,000 vehicles a day collapses. And you know what? We couldn't measure a change in speeds. A lot of traffic in a very dense urban area like Manhattan is circulating traffic. So the quicker people get to their destinations, the less circulation they do, the more opportunities you give them to circulate, the more they do circulate. So there is this reduction in circulation, this shrinkage in terms of traffic volume. People adjust the time they travel, and that's incremental. The people that traveled at 8 o'clock in the morning may say, you know what, it's too tough, I'm going to travel at 7:55.
And that makes you think that there is some flexibility in the system, so if you were to close the Loop Drive in Central Park, there wouldn't be chaos in the city, that the system is capable of absorbing that sort of change.
Exactly. If we lost Central Park, it's open so few hours now, the traffic impacts over the long term would be barely measurable. It's only the short term, and one of the things that you have to do is to withstand the kind of pressure that you'll get. Taxi cab drivers, mayors, spouses, whatever. Whoever is complaining, people will complain. The people on Fifth Avenue, they are really loud complainers. I've had to work with that community, and they have a lot of power. So they're not going to be happy about it.
It's a little counterintuitive. You sort of would think these people are here, they're going to go somewhere else. And that to think through all the second order effects of how it affects the system and people's decisions over time is more than the average person really understands.